Hello, disruptors, and welcome to another groundbreaking episode of Mindset Mastery Moments with yours truly, Dr. Alisa. Listen, today we have a long-awaited, exciting episode that's going to take us through breaking boundaries and embracing limitations, leaving a legacy with a mindset that is full of mastering life's curveballs. Today, we have an extraordinary guest whose story of resilience, transformation, and empowerment will deeply inspire you. We have a special guest in studio who has turned her life's challenges into a powerful journey of creating limitless legacy. Her work guides leaders from complacency to inspired productivity, and she's here to share her insights with us today about how she has mastered the mindset of overcoming any form of limitation and disbelief. So get ready to be moved and be motivated as we dive into our special guest and her remarkable journey and the lessons that we can learn and that she has learned along the way. We welcome to Mindset Mastery Moments, Keisha Hickson. Keisha, we welcome you to Mindset Mastery Moments.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Whyte. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you for that amazing introduction.
Well, that's not all. I need our listeners and viewers to know a little bit about you, a little bit more about the work that you've done. So Keisha Hickson, she is a professional speaker, a transformative thought leader, and a passionate advocate for resilience. And you all know we talk a lot about resilience on this podcast. And she's also a women's empowerment coach. With 25 years of experience in the financial industry, Keisha has held high-level positions including vice president, senior branch manager in wealth management. Since 2017, she has successfully owned and operated multiple businesses. Talk about serial entrepreneur, that's my girl, showcasing her versatility and dedication. Despite facing a diagnosis of multiple myeloma, Keisha chose to see this life-altering moment as an opportunity for profound personal change. She's here today to share with us her inspiring journey and her concept of limitless legacy. I love that. A powerful narrative that encourages us to live life on our own terms. Keisha, again, let's dive into this powerful episode with you and your story. So tell us in your own words, who are you?
Who am I? My name is Keisha Hickson. I am from the tri-state area, from New York City.
Hey, NYC. Area.
You know, throughout my life, I followed what was taught to me. I went to school. I started a career in banking. I had a child. I was going along fine. My career was fine. Life was going along. And then one day, I fell at home and I injured my elbow. And I had to seek medical treatment because I really couldn't understand why my elbow was hurting me so much. And what came after that was life-changing. It shook me to my core. A simple fall. I had an injured elbow. I sought medical attention because it was killing me. And to my surprise, it uncovered that I had multiple myeloma, which is a rare, incurable cancer of the plasma cells. So when this whole thing came up and I received the phone call, I was at my office and he said, you have multiple myeloma. And I said, okay, so what is that? Like, it doesn't say cancer in the title. I'm like, oh, this is going to be okay. I'm going to figure this out.
Right.
And in true Keisha fashion, oh, I can fix it. Don't worry. I turned to my computer and I started to type it up and it says, a rare incurable cancer with 3 to 5 years to live.
Wow.
I was 38 years old.
My goodness.
Right? I had a thriving career, a beautiful daughter. She was 8 years old at the time. My career was great. I was managing one of the biggest branches in New York City. It was the beginning of the year, which I love. Beginning of the year, and right now is my favorite time of the year, which is June, because you get to reset and see what you did for the first half of the year. And this is also my birthday month, so I use this as a way to gauge where you are, what you're not doing, how I can reset. And most of my life, I've worked in retail banking. I'm very sales oriented. It's the time to just reset. So I was happy in January. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna figure it out.
Yes,
what happened, and it just changed my perspective on life and how I see things. And I thought I had time for everything. I was 38 years old. Like, I was like, I have time. I'll get to it. But all of a sudden, like with a death sentence of 3 to 5 years, I felt like I was like Roadrunner. Like I had all the things I put off, I had to get to it.
Yeah.
So that's really me in a nutshell, how I got to this moment where I am right now. I don't know if I answered the question, but that's how I got to where I'm at right now.
Yeah, that changes everything. And here we love to talk about those pivotal moments that absolutely changes everything. You think you see, the thing is about life, and even in my own journey, it's like you think how everything's going to play out. You have a plan, you have that one child and you're like, okay, I'm going to see her graduate preschool, go from middle school to high school. I'm going to see her, go to college, get married, and it's going to be this big wedding. And you have this whole image. And, when it was an image for you, it's an image for this child or whatever. You just have plans for life. And then life, as I say, starts lifing in a way that does not follow the script you created. So Keisha,
Correct.
The question I have for you is, what kind of mindset did you have to pivot in a moment like that? Like, what was the next move for you? Because you said you were going to figure it out, but now you're realizing 3 to 5.
Listen, so at that moment, it was January, it was on Martin Luther King weekend. Mm-hmm. And of course, you go take other diagnostic tests, and now they confirmed this is what it is. Mm-hmm. So I was like, listen, I can't fold. I'm going to fight it. I had already made up my mind that I was going to beat it. Mm-hmm. If I never knew what mindset and mental strength could do, I had to pull it together at that point. Because when you read the statistics and all the things that can happen, it can very easily paralyze you and then you don't do anything. And part of the healing process when you're going through anything, whether it's medical, emotional, is your mindset.
Yes.
Your mindset has a lot to do with it. And early on, as I read certain books and I would meet with different doctors, they were like, don't look at the news too much. Try to look at stuff like comedy, spirituality, things that keep you in an upbeat moment. You don't want to go into that tailspin of woe is me, right?
Yes.
So very early on, I just acknowledged this is what it is, right? There was no time to think about how I got it, when I got it, because multiple myeloma is environmental, right? You get it from something you're exposed to. So there's no pre-screening. I didn't miss my mammogram. I did not go to the doctor for 5 years. You just don't know until like a fall or something, your organs start to fail or something comes up in the blood work that causes them to look further. Also, I was only 38. Most multiple myeloma patients are in their 60s and they're Black males.
Oh. So
for the most part, for my entire life, I was pretty healthy. I had a normal pregnancy. I go to the doctor twice a year. Of course, I can lose a few pounds here and there, whatever. But for the most part, for my entire adult life, I was extremely healthy. I was not even hospitalized. Even when I had my daughter, I was only in the hospital for a day.
Wow.
So for this to come up and it's so critical, it just kind of like rocked me to my core.
Yeah.
So I just had to acknowledge what was happening, even modern medicine. And my hematologist at the time, she said, Keisha, now is the time to get multiple myeloma. There are so many drugs in the pipeline for it. Even though it's incurable, you're going to be okay. Just believe, go to treatment, tweak some certain things in your lifestyle, and you should be able to sustain. Right? Because they're not going to tell you there's no cure. So it's not going to say in 5 years, if it doesn't come back, I'm cured. I always have the clone. So very early on, I just had to kind of accept this is what it is and not dwell on it, right? Because I still had a daughter, I had a thriving career.
Yes.
And I'm just going to go for it.
You're just going to go for it. And and even though you couldn't plan for it, you pivot. And that's that resilience we talk about.
So it became a part of my life because I go to the doctor often. Multiple myeloma, you're always on some type of chemotherapy. Maybe, like now I take a shot at Sloan. So I just had to incorporate as part of my life.
Right. I love what you said because I believe in the conversations of resilience, I think we only talk about resilience from a perspective of completely conquering something.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes things that happen, like this prognosis that you got, and it was a gift, number one, to find out, and then number two, the big thing you said that we say some things are taught, some things are caught, that I hope the audience heard is, I learned how to include it as part of the journey. And so many times when life pivots for us, we don't get in the mindset of, oh, I couldn't see this coming. Ouch, this hurts. This really hurts. It makes me feel sad. It changes everything. Where am I now? Where am I going to go? But I can't get rid of it. It's here. So how do I include it and still keep going with the vision? The vision is not different. It just changes how I get there now, right? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
So absolutely. So this was one situation where it's like, if I come from the sales world, if I made my quarterly goal, I can breathe. This situation for me has taught me the true meaning of resilience, right? One foot in front of the other, constants. This is over time. This is constant. This is like the longest marathon of my life.
Yes.
We always say, oh, life is not a sprint. It's not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. But I'm on a marathon. I've been on a marathon for the past 8 years. Because at any moment, my diagnosis can change, right? I can't have remission, and I may have to change my treatment plan. So how do you help yourself not get tired? Because it's extremely tiring, right? I'll be honest with you. And anything that we want to do, even outside of my cancer diagnosis, even if you start a business, or you want to learn a second language, or you want to finish your PhD program, there's always resilience, because there's always roadblocks in the way, detours. Like part of my framework, which I call Dare to Change.
Oh, I can't wait for us to delve in.
Talk about your own personal GPS, right?
Ooh.
So think about when you use the GPS in the car and you put the address, it will tell you roadblock ahead, police activity. You have to get off I-95, right? Unfortunately, in life, you don't know of the roadblock until you hit the roadblock.
That's right.
But you still have to get to the destination. So what do you have to do at that time? You just have to regroup and figure out another way. The destination doesn't change.
Right.
You just have
you have to recalculate. Right. Absolutely. So
one second, out the way. Let me just let her in until it's coming house. I'm sorry.
So that is profound, the type of mindset that resilience truly is. And I feel like every time I do an episode that includes resilience, it just takes us to a deeper level. So here's a question I have for you. What motivated you to turn these challenges, this prognosis, into an opportunity for transformation empowerment? You just hinted a little bit about your dare to, I know we're going to delve into it late in another segment, but
honestly, when I received the news, I was like, what is going to be my legacy? How am I going to be remembered? Right? Yes, I had a great career. I worked there at that time, it was like 20 years, but I had to do more than just, I work for this bank, right? Also, I wanted my daughter, who was 8 years old at the time, to be able to say, this happened to my mom, but this is what she did, right? And most of my life, I concentrated a lot on my career. What will be my legacy? How did I impact the community, my friends, my career? So that's how the whole idea of a limitless legacy came about. Like, oftentimes we try to push everything to the side that we want to do. One day, someday, I'm going to get to it. But I found myself in this unique situation where I don't know if that one day or someday was ever going to come. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And I felt like I was on a treadmill. I feel like I was like on an IV drip of adrenaline.
Wow.
Because also managing my situation, knowing what could possibly happen down the road, I felt like I had to get it done.
Yeah.
So like the first business, I decided to open to start it in October, and I opened in December. Right? So it was just kind of like, girl, just go for it. What you waiting for? What you got to lose?
What do you have to lose?
Nothing. What do you have to lose?
Wow. What do you have to lose?
Nothing.
My goodness. So with the financial industry, because you said so much, and I love that you backed it up so well, is you kind of put, and I just love when we do that as humans, you drew on your strength and the expertise you had in the finance industry. How did that prepare you for what you were going to go through in your personal journey here?
You know, at the time, I didn't know it. So you got to think, I started working for the bank in 1997.
Wow.
I witnessed so many challenges in my professional career in the financial industry, from the collapse of the housing market to 9/11 impacted the financial industry. And I could probably cite a million other instances that gave us challenge. Yeah. But one thing for sure, I've learned from my career at the bank, don't matter what's happening, we got to get to the finish line.
They don't give up. Yeah.
We have to get to the finish line. When things happen, we have to regroup, seek out new resources, find new talent to help us, and execute. Because there's no, oh, this happened, can I get the pass? Yeah. It is none of that. So folding just wasn't an option. And the company I worked for, we did a great job of rallying together, pivoting and strategic thinking and thinking out the box to make our goals and to be profitable, because you have to keep the lights on.
Right. And for everybody, thousands of people.
Right. So I didn't realize it at the time, even from the training from customer service, how to implement a strategy, how to see a goal all the way through, really came from my banking career.
Yes.
It prepared me for so much, because prior to me being diagnosed, there was other things that happened in my life, you know, like
you've had the application. Yeah.
Right. I used the application, but that wasn't the, how can I say, the one, right?
Right.
Things happened. I was like, I can figure that out. I'll just keep trucking on. But this was the pivotal moment in my life that was like, I have to do something. I have to change. I can't continue living my life the same way. And it wasn't bad, right? I just think we all seek comfort and then we get comfortable and we just go on pause. It's like we'll say it all the time. I just want to be comfortable.
Out of control, out of cruise.
So I'm right here. I'm not even going to move. I'm not even going 2 inches to the left or 2 to the right, because I just want to be comfortable right here. Yeah. And that's where I was. But this situation made me extremely uncomfortable. So what do I do now? So pivot. So that's how my professional career really helps me in many facets of my life, right?
Right.
And I think the one thing is, minute as it is, thinking now. So I worked in retail banking, which was the branches that you see that you go into to make your deposits.
Right.
No matter what happens, at 9 o'clock, I have to open the doors. As a branch manager, I have to open the doors.
Yeah.
If 2 people show up or 1 person, you have
to open the doors.
You got to show up, right? I got to show up, open the doors 9 o'clock, and during the time, I have to figure out how to keep the day going. And that's something that lifted me. No matter what happened, I had to open.
Yeah.
And service customers and be productive and make the day's goals, no matter what. So some of those things I have implemented in my own life. And when I do my speaking engagements and my workshop facilitations, I use a lot of those moments when things happen to me during my career that I had to open.
You gotta show up.
Even if you got to go in the bathroom and cry for a good 5 minutes,
you got to.
When you come back out, you're public facing.
That's it right there. And the thing that you're saying is just you said it, and a lot of us don't realize that the things that we sometimes resent in any parts of our journey is preparing us for the next part of our journey.
Correct.
And we would save ourselves so much stress if we're just like, this is what I do. I ask myself, how can I, and what am I supposed to learn? And I usually say, okay, God, what am I supposed to learn here with all this mess? Because I need my promotion, so I want to learn this lesson so I could take the knowledge to the next level. I surrender, right? And so I hope that we are catching that. I know for me, that resonates with me so powerful. I have to open. And as an entrepreneur, and you are too, what I've learned is the discipline from working in the corporate world of I have to open. I never said it that way, of course, but I always look at the fact that I get up and I went to work no matter what. Like, unless I could not stop throwing up, or I had fever, or I had something contagious, I went to work. I didn't have to. Some days I had staff, but I had to open.
Mm-hmm. So listen, I think that, we're in the age of everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, right? Even college kids, they don't want to go to college now. They just want to go straight to open up a business, which is fine.
They're 15 and they want to open.
Right. But there's things that you learn along the way, like even going to college and finishing that degree, it's discipline.
Yes.
It teaches you discipline unconsciously without even realizing it, right?
Right.
You're going to work for a corporation, whether it be for 3 years or 4 years, gives you some type of structure and some type of intel on how you can run your own business. Because that company has a team of 30,000.
Yes.
And when you're an entrepreneur, you may have a team of 2 when you start.
Yourself.
Right. And you are
responsible. 2 of you.
And you're responsible for doing everything. But when you work in a corporate environment, you don't realize how many people attribute to that bottom line.
That's right. That's right.
So, you got to open no matter what.
You got to open. And so what we do, we don't, when it comes to doing it, and I say it might not be entrepreneurship. It might just be a weight loss goal. It might be you finishing your degree or whatever. But the principle applies. One of my friends, Dr. Kareem, he says, you show up every day for work. Are you showing up in your life that way? Are you giving it 100%? So who else but Keisha Hickson to tell us about Limitless Legacy? We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. We are back with transformational empowerment coach, speaker, author. She's just a phenomenal human teaching us about resilience, but she's created a concept that's called Limitless Legacy. So Keisha, tell us what that means, because I couldn't wait for this part.
So the concept of a limitless legacy is, think about the impact that you want to leave, right? God forbid you pass away prematurely. What would you want your friends to say about you, your family to say about you, and your coworkers and your community, right? There's so many different ways you create legacy. Like, we hear it all the time. Mom, we didn't have a lot of money, but our home was filled with love. That's a legacy of that mother, right?
Yes.
One of my friends, she had a death in the family, and I went to the funeral, and she's looking for me at the funeral. But what she's looking for is for me to bring wit and make her laugh at the funeral. I'm like, calm down. I don't want to do that. We're at the funeral. But that's something that she was looking forward to.
Just having
my ability of turning the situation and handling it and soothing her.
Yeah.
Right. And that's part of my legacy with my friend. She knows that I'm known for, I'm going to cut up.
Yes.
I'm going to make you laugh. When something happens that's not great, I'm going to find a way to make light of it, to like smooth the situation over.
Yeah.
And that is what she was looking for at that moment. But I just didn't want to do it because the way we were. I was like, stop. She was like, but I realized that's what she needed. So I gave it to her. So how you can be remembered in many different ways, right? I know when entrepreneurs like myself and yourself, when we show up to these venues and we talk, I'm not trying to pursue you to start a business, right? I want you to really think about the things that you've been putting off and what you want to do, and to pursue it, right? Whether it's learning a second language, writing a book, maybe you want to start a Girl Scout troop, maybe you want to start a tenant association in your building. What is really stopping you, right? Yeah. What is stopping you from doing the things that you want to do?
Right.
The time, it's fear.
Yeah.
People are afraid of what others are going to say. Oh, I don't have time. When my daughter gets to high school, I started, but I tried to instill in everyone, You have to work on what you want every day.
Every day. Woo, come on.
Day. Whether you even do 20 minutes a day, carve out 20 minutes to work on that thing. Yes. Whether it's read 3 pages, write your mission statement, research something, meet with someone that can give you some insight, you got to work on it every day.
That's right.
And I think so. One of my talks is called The High Cost of Complacency.
Yes, I love it.
And we become complacent in a lot of areas of our life.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to think about complacency mostly in the workplace, right? My career is kind of stagnant. I'm kind of stuck in this position. But there's other parts of our lives that become complacent. Our relationships, how we interact with our kids. Sometimes we become complacent with our health, right?
Yes.
So I kind of encourage people to kind of break it up in 4 quadrants and see where you become complacent. How you can move that dial. Right? Wow. Whether it's 10 minutes on each section a day, you gotta focus on, because time goes, and then what?
Wow. There is a high cost for complacency. Right. And so you have to have a plan. And I love to talk about start now. Yes. Don't put it off. Start now. Do it now. And that's what I'm hearing you say. When you talk to people, what are some of those practical strategies that you can share with us about how you put those 4 quadrants into play? We don't want to give all the secrets away, but we definitely want to take a peek.
On the very basic how to implement change in anything you want to do, first you got to acknowledge kind of really where you are. That's the first thing. Just acknowledge it, whether it's losing weight, exercising more, drinking water more, going for the next promotion. Just take stock of where you are right now. Just acknowledge it.
Inventory.
Step 2, just understand how it's going to make you feel if you start. When you accomplish it, how you're going to feel.
Yes.
If you feel like you want to beat yourself up, just give yourself some grace. Forgive yourself. Write down all the excuses, and also give yourself permission just to make the change, right? And you got to just understand your why and keep that as your North Star. What's your why? What's your why, right? I really encourage people to do things that resonates with them and not for others. But I know sometimes we do things to make a better life for our children, for our homes, whatever that why is. Write it down, figure it out. Figure it out. And design your roadmap. But be realistic about the roadmap, okay? If you know you only have 20 minutes a day to do it, schedule it at a time where you're going to be uninterrupted, right? Take into account, well, I have to drive the kid to school, I have to cook dinner. And at some point, when I was going to college, when I wanted to finish while I was working, I had to cut out TV time. Like,
gotta give some stuff up.
You gotta give something up. Everything in life is a sacrifice. Nothing is for free. You gotta carve out the time and just execute it and hold yourself accountable. It's great to have accountability partners. It's great to feed off of other people's energy. You come together. What are you doing? I'm doing this. But I'm here to tell you, life goes on for everybody.
Come on now. Their circumstance change and you don't have the accountability partner. Now what?
Now what, right? So you got to find a way to keep yourself motivated and to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. Like self-empowerment. Like outside of self-empowerment, self-accountability, understanding yourself is the most important thing. Right? Yes, we love to hear what people think about us. Oh, that's great. But you got to be able to look yourself in the mirror.
Come on.
You got to look yourself in the mirror.
Come on. So I say, who are you and what are you thinking about when you put your head down at night and those last thoughts? How do you feel about yourself? How you taking care of yourself and being responsible for your goals and your vision and your dream? Because we all have one. I don't care where you are. Everybody, I think even crackheads have a moment of fantasizing that, one day I want to use.
It has a vision, but how to get there is the issue. Like the roadmap, the resources, the willpower, small changes they can implement in their own life.
Yes.
To say, I'm making strides to become less dependent on this drug.
Come on.
Maybe instead of smoking 10 cigarettes, you try to smoke 8 today.
That's right.
Just little steps every day where you can see your progress and be proud of yourself. You'll realize that 1 week turns into 2 weeks to 3 weeks to 4 weeks.
Come on.
It does.
And like you said, the increments of extending the depth and the amount of time even that you spend on what it is you want. It's not about just, I tell people, be gentle with yourself. Like you can't look at me and say, okay, you fast 16 hours, 2 times a week, 18 hours, 2 times a week, and then you do a 23-hour fast. You don't understand. There was a time I couldn't fast at all, and I was only able to fast when I lay down at night and wake up in the morning. Not like the discipline was 7, don't even snack, just drink water or ice chips.
Just go to sleep.
Turn myself off my stomach. You don't understand that this has been years coming, right? So you can't wake up today and say, oh, you're seeing all this change in your health, in your body because of you doing this system. I'm like, but that's not where I started. So when you ask questions, don't compare and ask the right questions, because quality of the question determines the result you're going to get or the answer you're going to get. So it's like, okay, where do I start? I'm like, no, just, here's where I started. I did ice chips when I was up studying at night and drinking water. And that was hard. But I also cleaned out my cabinets. I didn't buy any snacks, and no one was allowed to build snacks while I was trying to develop the habit. And then after that, snacks was fine because I can't tell people what to do. I had to develop the habit of not seeing it and being okay with not taking it in.
Self-control.
Yeah. So I was like, that's hard enough. The goal is to do 23 and 48 and 72 hours of fasting a couple times a year, or whatever you want to do, but you can't start there. And so that's a simple example of every other thing that you've said to us. And I'm pretty sure that's why you have the results you have, because you figured out what works for you as well. That's the next thing.
So, which you're absolutely right. So, last Labor Day, I was like, I have to start exercising more consistently. I don't care what's happening. So I didn't go out last Labor Day. Being from the New York area, Labor Day is the end of summer, the last
Yes, I have to get one of those in.
But I decided to clean my cabinets out, and I just came out at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I kept that up from September to now. I realized that's my time when I can work out in the morning because no one has called me yet.
Right.
It was myself and my own thoughts.
Yes.
Stairmaster. I remember when I couldn't do 20 minutes on the Stairmaster. I could do over an hour on the Stairmaster. So those little things that you gotta take the time to look back to see where you started to kind of fuel you to move forward in everything. And it takes time. I'm very successful in most areas of my life, but there are things that I want to change, right? I want to dare to change. If I'm going to talk about it, I got to be about it. Right. Also, one good thing also that I thought about when I was driving this morning is I may not have seen the result that I really wanted. Come on. Right? But there are other benefits of being consistent. Come on. Yes. I think we talk about your fasting journey or my workout journey, my endurance, my strength, how I feel when I wake up in the morning. There are other wins other than the aesthetic win that we're all looking for, right? That's right. So many wins along the way. And part of my program, when we sit down and work on your roadmap, we leave spaces to talk about big and small wins. Pivotal moments, milestones, so you don't forget. Because a person like me who has 55 things going on at one time, you tend to forget, I really did that last week. And truly, I say stop and celebrate the small wins. Yeah. So I started at the end of every day, I write down the things that happened. Yes. Because by tomorrow, I don't remember. And sometimes I feel defeated at the end of the week. Because you had this big vision for that, but you don't realize you won 5 other battles that you didn't even see coming. Okay. So I try to train myself to kind of write those things down, whether it's in my phone or on a notepad, because you have to celebrate yourself. You got to think about all the small things. All the times you went to the gym when you didn't want to, or you know what, I really want to fast, I want to go out to eat, but you did it. So
yes, that's it. And I was going to ask you, you kind of touched on it, but so before we go to our next segment, if you don't mind giving us some practical strategies for us nurturing that resilience and empowerment in our everyday life.
Well, we kind of went over it a little bit with the things I got to realign myself, right? I think that we all sometimes got to realign the goal and the why, because life is happening every day. How do you realign yourself?
Right.
Another thing is, as entrepreneurs and people who have big dreams, we have 10 things that we want to accomplish.
Yeah.
But I think we got to break it down and maybe work on 2 things at a time.
Come on now.
Because you become overwhelmed and something falls through the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
Think about what's important to you right now, or something you could do short term, something that takes you like 4 weeks to accomplish. So you get that win, you get that momentum going. We're like, all right, I did this. It could be something as simple as cleaning out the garage. It could be something as simple as installing a closet system. Do something that's going to give you a win.
Yeah.
And it will give you that power to know the next task, you can handle it.
Yes.
I think sometimes we go for the gusto too fast.
Yes.
And then when it doesn't happen in the time frame that we like, or we realize we need more resources, we become defeated. And then back to that, our favorite place, the comfort zone.
Yep.
Right? Nothing grows there.
Nothing grows there. Nothing grows there. Oh, I love it. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors to play Flip the Script with Keisha Hickson. Mastery Moments with the gorgeous, powerful Keisha Hickson. I was just telling her backstage that, this conversation, I don't want it to end, but we be disciplined for the mindset. But that's exactly why you're going to get her info and you're going to follow her, connect with her. You need to get into your Limitless legacy. You're going to have that opportunity to connect with her. But we get to play with our guests. You all know it. And so many people love this segment, Flip the Script. And, we never know what we're going to ask. It's usually based on what I get curious about, what I think you may get curious about as you listen. So, Keisha, here's a question that I have for you. Mm-hmm. And it's, this could be silly. What is your limitless legacy look like? I mean, you talked about joy and laughter, and I'm like, that's definitely a big one. But what's your focus?
My focus, definitely is successful in all my business ventures, right?
Yeah.
To learn from my failures.
Right? I love that.
To learn from my failures. Success for me is living life on my own terms. Right? Building the life that I want to live on my own terms.
Yes.
Also, being able to inspire others to start that thing, do the thing, dare to change, use my story as this could possibly happen to me. Am I really living the life that I want to live? Especially for women, because I feel like women, sometimes we tend to put our dreams on the back burner, right? We got to raise our kids, we got to go to work, we got to do this. We tend to always push ourselves to the back burner. How can I inspire you with all your responsibilities to find time to write your own legacy?
Wow, I love that.
So that's what's important to me, right? How I can impact others and show you, like, I've learned a lot. I had a lot of bumps in the road through my entrepreneurship journey. It just wasn't like, right, how I can possibly help someone else not make some of the same mistakes I made.
Yeah.
Just help them talk it through to make the road a little bit easier for the next person.
I love it. I love it. So Keisha, if you had to say one thing to the woman entrepreneur, what would you say to her?
What
in
I would say
2024 with everything considered?
In 2024, based upon my professional and personal journey, you have to find a way to navigate when things happen. Things are always going to happen, right?
Right.
For instance, when I received this diagnosis, I could have very well said, this is my fate, and just sit back and let it take its course, right? If I did that, I would have wasted another 8 years.
Because here we are.
Here we are, right? Here we are. There's medical advancements. You don't even know a thing exists until you're faced with the thing, right?
Right. And then we're all in it.
Right. Whether it's a cancer diagnosis, anything, you don't realize the work that's in the background that's going to work in your favor. Like, I didn't know about 6 drugs would be approved in over this 8-year span.
Wow.
So had I just like, all right, this is what it is, and just sit here and just wait for time to pass. Here's 8 years later, and I'm thriving. All the things I've accomplished over the past 8 years, I probably wouldn't have.
Exactly.
Right? Because I would have felt like, well, this is it. I'm going to give up right here.
Right.
And things are always happening, right? Things are always happening.
Right.
So women listening, like, to figure out who you want to be. Like, so sometimes we graduate from college, I'll sum it up this way. I always think about it this way in my head. You finish college, some people land a job in their dream field, unclear of what they want to do.
Right.
Some take a job, they have to get a job, and they figure they're going to get to another place.
Right.
So take yourself back to that time when you had full of dreams and goals. What happened along the way that you settled in and
Come on. Yeah.
Right? I'm not saying that your dreams and goals can't change, because of course they could.
Right. And you evolve.
Right. But when do they change? And if it changed, that's fine.
Right.
What are you doing to keep on that same course?
Right. What the fire that ignited you as a young person or a younger version of yourself, where's that fire now? Because I think what we don't catch is circumstances change on their own without our permission. But what we have to do is, I say, that childlike faith, that childlike curiosity. You know, children never, like, I've seen children walk up to things that can fall on them and just go push it anyway. And I'm like, what was he thinking? He was just not afraid. And we lose that as we grow. So we have to put the work in to reposition ourselves as close as possible to that, I say, childlike faith. I remember struggling as an entrepreneur for pricing in my 30s, when as a 17-year-old entrepreneur, I never think about it. I'm like, okay, that's what I want them to pay. And I fixed the price and people paid it. Right. In my 30s, I'm here. I'm like, what, you know, yeah, it's not going to be too much. Do you think I'm still fairly new and all that stuff? What changed was the question between 17-year-old Alisa and at the point 30-something-year-old Alisa. Well, life, all these things, my confidence went down. So I had to do the work to build up to where I'm now, like, no, $5,000, that's it. I mean, whoever it's for, it's for.
It's for, but speak to your target audience. I don't think it's really the confidence. At 30, you have way more responsibilities than 17. So it's kind of like, I got to make this check, like, because I got to make this car payment.
Right.
At home, like, it's $4,000. They say no. Okay, you don't have that bill of the next month to think about. So not so much the confidence. It's just like, I need to start generating income that causes you pause. Right. That causes you pause. But a lot of it is, you know, just fear. It's scary.
That's my thing.
It's scary. And I'm very candid about my story of, I had ample opportunities to do so much more, but I was comfortable, fear of the unknown, fear of change, fear of this. And I just kept coasting along, because prior to that, like, my life was just like great. I didn't really have many hiccups. Like, it was good, but it was good. Like I went to work, I was making money, bonus year over year.
All your stuff
had
was
a great
taken
career.
care of.
Yeah, I was like, oh, next year's coming, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So it just happened that this is my story and how it changed my outlook. Like, and the things that we think are important, that are really not important. It was just a way to shift my perspective, right?
Right.
So I like to say, why did it happen to me? I'm okay with it. Like, I have to be okay with it. You know what I mean? I think that God gives who he knows can persevere and learn and spread the message of hope, empowerment. It's scary, but you gotta move forward. Right.
It's scary, but you gotta move forward. Oh, that's sunk in so deep. Last question and flipping the script. So what I'm thinking of, when you say to us that you had gone on this journey of you were comfortable, but this happened. Looking back now, would you say all the accomplishments you have as an entrepreneur, as a speaker, as a thought leader, do you think that had not multiple myeloma happened, you would be here? And what are the chances of you not even being here on a podcast today if that hadn't happened?
So honestly, I thought that when I retired, I would go into real estate. I would find something to do, right? I've always been a driven person in my career, right? I would never stay one place, but I stayed in retail banking, but I could have branched out to so many different areas in the bank, right? So I always thought that I would retire and probably go into real estate. So if it wasn't for multiple myeloma, and it definitely shifted me. Like I was a sales manager, so I spoke a lot. I coached people. I helped them become better sales people, right? So part of what I do now, I did in my career. But would I have been on a podcast? Probably not. Would I have been at a conference for business? Probably. It just changed. It just changed me of what I want to do with my life and how I want to make an impact.
Yes.
Sure. But this wasn't immediate. Some of these things came over time.
Along the way.
How I can impact as you grow into yourself as an entrepreneur, as you grow into yourself, overcoming something like multiple myeloma. This was a buildup of over the years. Because in December, I hosted my own event called The Intimate Talk with Keisha Hickson. A lot of people know my story, but don't really know some of the nuances. So I decided to deliver.
How they pivot. Yeah.
And in one of the video testimonials, one of my old colleagues was like, Keisha doesn't know it, but this has been in the making for years. And one of the young ladies said, I was one of the very few Black female managers at the bank. And she had a problem with her boyfriend at the time. I was like, girl, let me tell you what you're going to do. You're going to do this and move on from that. And she said, the way she made it, she gave me a whole plan. Like, it's going to be okay. Like, it's going to be okay. This is what we're going to focus on today. And she said that in the video testimonial. So you talk about how you impact people and, and how you can be remembered. That's a memory that she shared about me that most people don't know.
No, right.
I gave her that type of advice.
Yeah.
So would I be here all the way? No, but I also believe God makes no mistakes.
He doesn't. And so that's why I asked that question as I thought about it, because a lot of us don't realize, we hear it a lot. Life is not happening to you. It's happening for you. But on the podcast with your presence today, we get to see that. And I wanted them to hear, because I tell people my infertility journey, my, divorce, after so many years of marriage and all that stuff, I wouldn't be who I am today if I had not crossed those lines and shifted my mindset and took the perspective and then allow myself to grow into the woman I am. Was I a powerful woman? Yes. Was I an entrepreneur? Yes. Was I going to be helping, coaching people somewhere along the line? Yes. But not with such clarity and conviction and specificity and dedication and drive. So I believe that when we say life is not happening to you, it's happening for you, you're never getting thrown off track. And I believe we are where we're supposed to be regardless. And it it's just what you need to. So it's a part of your journey. And we look at a toenail breaking differently than we look at multiple myeloma.
Correct. And that's something also. So sometimes things will happen to my friends and family members, and I'm listening, and I'm like,
it's not multiple myeloma.
I think that's it. It's like, you want to go to the mall and buy another one right now? Because we can. Right? But I try not to minimalize other feelings.
People's journey. Yeah.
I'm like, what you want to talk about today?
I know. Like, oh, my dad's not doing this and my dad's not doing. I'm like, girl, I don't even have one. He's dead. I can't call him. And I'm not trying to make it seem like, do understand your dad is way older than you and he's more than likely gonna die before you. Stop wasting the time and let your dad be the dad that he is in your life. And you know how to relate with him, but know that that's your only, this is it. And so I think when things like multiple myeloma and tragic, what we would assume call tragic as humans, come, it teaches you that perspective. And I feel like it's on us when we overcome to shed and spread the knowledge of, listen, use every chance you have to be the best version of yourself. Give your goals and dreams every shot and chance you can now. Don't wait. You don't know.
Michelle, it's so funny you said something. So there's other things that happened in my lifetime that's just awful. And I had to shift, right?
Yeah.
But you'll come in and you go back to whatever, okay. But because of my unique situation, I never really get a chance. Right? So it keeps me like almost like my finger on the dial of resilience. So that's kind of like, because we all go through things. Divorce, infertility, financial hardship, you may lose your job. But then when you find another job, that's okay, I made it.
You're right.
I made it through the storm. So I think that's the unique perspective for me. Is I have to live with it forever, right?
Ooh.
And I'm living with it, but it's part of my everything.
Yeah. And so a lot, again, multiple myeloma, it's ongoing. You're going through different treatments and things and research and stuff. But I hope that we can see the similarity in our own journeys. It's like, you might not have a diagnosis, but you've had a heartbreak.
Yeah.
You've had, a miscarriage. You've lost a loved one. That's now just part of your life.
Right. And listen, sometimes it's easier said than done to tell.
It is. Oh my God.
Move past it, right?
Yeah.
Especially for my age category. When we talk about infertility, a lot of my friends didn't have children. Right? And now that we're 40 something, the likelihood is kind of slim, right?
It's over. I hang the gloves up.
So, everybody's unique situation is important to them.
Yeah.
And we're just kind of acknowledging where you are. And
that's right.
There's options, but you got to be willing to take those options.
Yeah. Or if not, let it go and say, well, this was my thing when it came to infertility, and I was sitting there, just had my uterus taken out, and I had won an award here in the US for Entrepreneur of the Year, Businesswoman of the Year or something, nationally in Atlanta. And I was sitting on my couch watching it happen because I just had the surgery. And my mom was like, you need to calm down. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I won. But God aligned that victory to happen in the moment of loss, because it's phases of grief with everything. And I remember pivoting and saying to my sister, she says, you need to calm down. It's a big deal and I'm happy for you, but you need to calm down. I don't want you to hurt yourself. I was like, you don't understand. I just lost the option of giving birth to a child, not having a child, but giving birth to a child, because you can have children.
Right.
There's, like you said, there's options. So mindset, right? But I know I am more empowered to give birth to possibilities, not just for myself, not just for my legacy, but to see so many other people give birth to their dreams. And that for me was my pivot in that moment. And that came from my spirit after sitting and brooming on, oh my God, what does this mean? Am I really a woman now? all the crazy stuff you ask yourself. But understand that even though I made that conscious announcement out loud, and it is what I believe, truly, it's my core belief now and still is, I have moments where it's still tough.
It is. It doesn't go away. You have your moments and you have to regroup and accept it and think about it and let it brew.
Acknowledge it. Feel the pain.
One thing we didn't really touch on is the regret that comes from not pursuing something you wanted, right? Ooh. So part of the fear of not pursuing is not being successful. But nobody talks about the regret of, because you don't know whether it was going to be successful or not. We didn't talk about the regret, right?
Come on, talk about it.
It's a big part in I wish I could have, should have, would have, right? And how do we have less regret in our lives?
Talk about it.
And that's in everything. Like a relationship broke up, it could be a friendship or a romantic relationship, the regret of maybe I should have compromised, or maybe I should have done this, or why didn't I go for that promotion? Right? The regret. It's a lot of, I don't think we openly talk about regret.
No,
but I think
we don't. And that's going to be the next episode you and I do, where we just
talk about
dig into it, because that's a whole episode. My God.
And the regret and the second guessing.
Tell us, Keisha, is it wise to do things to avoid regret, or is it better to protect yourself and deal with the regret after?
So that's kind of hard to answer. What I would say is this. Whatever it is, I think that you have to understand the risk involved.
Come on, risk and rewards. You're speaking my language.
Weigh the option. I've weighed out the risk versus the reward, right? Like, I'm not going to tell you jump in the Titanic and you can't swim. Like, learn how to swim first.
That's risky. That's foolish risk.
Right. Like, really assess the risk.
Come on.
And weigh the reward. If you're not 100% successful, you did it.
You learn.
And you learn from it, but you can do it again.
Come on.
Learn from the first time, right? So you drive the same route, you realize 4 o'clock is not the best route, 6 o'clock, go to the next route. Like,
come on now.
There is power in failure, and you can still try again.
Yes.
And you can try again.
Yes.
Like so many entrepreneurs, and I'm going to bring this up because I worked in banking and I have so many entrepreneurial friends. Your first business is not the successful one.
Come on.
Sometimes it's not.
Come on.
Not. So I can't really answer that question. I think that you should assess the risk. The
risk and reward. That's all you have.
So
I have a thing. Win-win. I posted it recently. I'm always in a win-win situation because number one, you said it earlier, my purpose is my North Star. So the question is always, does this relationship, does this activity, does this business adventure, does all of this align with my purpose and what God created me for and what I'm so passionate about? Yes or no? First thing. Second thing is, I feel so afraid. This could go really wrong. Well, all right, you feel that way? Fine. What can you benefit that will still keep you in alignment with purpose, and what will be the risk? But you know what? If you feel and you know you're supposed to be doing it, you're supposed to be there, you're supposed to talk to this person, supposed to walk with this person, you feel it and you know it in your soul and your gut. That we're saying the other day that you have a brain in your gut now. That's new, but we kind of need, you know what I mean? I'm starting to look into that. But just do it. And the win-win comes from because you had conviction, you had enough assessment, like you said, in the reward that you felt and knew you were supposed to do it. And it's a win-win situation because when you don't get out the results you want, you learn and you do it again. This is how they created the light bulb. And I usually say they because there's argument about who did it.
Right.
And I don't want to be naming names and have history be on the wrong side of history. But when the light bulb was being created, we're told that it was like, oh, I now know this didn't work. Oh, I now know this doesn't work. No, I know, but it never stopped going after getting a light bulb. And so that's how I believe about it. I think to each his own, but nothing good happens in the comfort zone.
Newsflash.
Yeah.
fear in everything that we do.
Come on.
Fear does not go away.
Never.
Every time I have to take the stage, I'm fearful.
That's right.
Every time I tape a podcast episode with a new host, there's a little bit of fear in me.
Yeah.
Because you want to be impactful and make sure you say all the right things, how you look, how you do this. Every time I have a new idea, there's some fear.
Yeah.
But fear is a normal emotion.
It is.
But if you plan and you prepare yourself, you will overcome your fear.
And what happens on the other side once you go through the process of doing what you were fearing?
I did it. And I can
You did it.
And even though I'm nervous the next time again, but I did it.
But you know how this ends. You kind of get in the habit of knowing this is what we do. I feel that thing in my stomach and this ends. And so I tell people when you're doing even, let's just say romantic relationships, if you and this person has committed to it, why are you playing around? Go all in. I'm not telling you to jump in and get married. That's not what Dr. Whyte is saying. Right. But as time goes by and you get to know that person, show more and you guys reciprocate. And it goes for all your relationships. What are you doing?
A whole nother episode we can talk about.
Girl, we got 10 episodes already. We need our own segment for Mindset Mastery.
Right. I just think that you got to let go a little bit. And some of us, part of it is the struggle of the power that's a whole other girl. Let's talk about August.
Because listen, my thing is, I face it the way I face life now. To answer that question, I'm going to be honest and be candid. Okay. I live my life to have no regrets in this season. And doesn't mean I don't find that I end up doing, but I've always kind of lived, you talk about living life on your own terms. And for me, that's what living life on my own terms mean. Yeah. And I'm going to add, that's the last question I have for you in this segment, because we made it extended when we're almost done. But living life on my own terms is no regrets. So if I'm going to go after getting pink toenails permanently stuck on my finger, on my toes, I'm going. Mm-hmm. I'm going to assess the risk and reward so I can know how to navigate. But I know something might come stop me, but I'm going to keep going. And the only regret I would have is if I never get pink toenails, I'm surrendered. But you know what I won't have is a regret that I didn't try to get the pink toenails I wanted. That's living life on my own terms. Keisha, to close us out on Flip the Script, what's living life on your own terms?
Mm-hmm. For me, living life on my own terms is, oftentimes we fall into what society wants us to be or who we should be, how we should act, X, Y, and Z. We all, like from either cultural background, whatever the case may be. Living life on my own terms right now as someone who almost has a daughter who is going to go off to college, doing whatever I feel like doing. How can I bring a greater impact? Seriously. How can I bring a greater impact to my community?
Yes.
Hire a few people along the way. Mm-hmm. And just live, of course, grow my wealth, right? Because we need things to live. I'm not going to say that we do not have a popcorn. We're not. Right. My honest goal is to start living my life out of a suitcase, I call it. Traveling from place to place, meeting different people, speaking on stage, having an impact, learning from other women, from their stories. Because as critical as my situation is, trust me.
That's worse.
Somebody's story is a bit more critical than mine, right? So how I can learn from other women, other people, and become a better community person. Mm-hmm.
That's the legacy.
And because none of this, we're not doing this for free, right? I can brand out, dare to change,
limitless legacy.
Like how I could just help people, because you need help. Yeah. We think we have it all figured out, but we all need help. LeBron James still has a coach. He still has a life coach. Yes. Mentor. And one thing for us women who are in the entrepreneurial space, we do not do what I call continuing education, right?
Come on now.
For the financial institution, that was kind of forced on me. Like, how can I make myself better, right? More consistent. Because these are the things that make us successful. There's really no magic wand.
Come on now.
People only see the actions and the results, but they don't know what's going to get to the action. The thoughts, the beliefs, the emotions that comes behind
trying to the tears,
or start something new, or change something about yourself. Your struggles you have at work or at home. You know, a lot of my friends and women I've met, you know, they have challenges with their children, but learning disabilities and things that the outside world doesn't see, that you battle every day. So in April, someone asked me to speak about living with an invisible disability. Like, you're disabled if you didn't know.
Newsflash!
I was like, really?
As fast as I go, I'm disabled.
I was like, oh, you know what? You're right. But in doing the research for that talk, 1 out of 4 adults are living with an invisible disability that they weren't born with.
Come on.
Right? So how do you navigate when things happen to you and still be productive? Right? Yeah. It's so much out here to learn, to give, to push forward, to live by example for the next person that's watching, that you don't even know who is watching. Yeah. Who is looking for you to inspire them or give them some encouragement or motivate them.
Right. Man, wow.
Don't know Dr. Whyte.
I love it. Listen, we'll be back with Mindset Bites to go with Keisha Hickson after a word from our sponsors. All right, Disruptors. Oh, we didn't want this episode to end. It's been a blast. I promise you this is not, of course, this is not the last you'll see of Keisha and I, because the energy and synergy is just phenomenal and a gift. She's just phenomenal. So Keisha, this segment, Mindset Bites to Go, is where you get to talk to the listeners and viewers around the world and give them your closing words for today. So I'm going to step away from the microphone, give the microphone to you, and you go for it. Here you go.
First of all, Dr. Whyte, thank you so much for having me. It was such a blast to talk to you. So what I would like to leave the audience is this. As we know, life is unpredictable. It is full of surprises, bumps in the roads. I was diagnosed in 2016 with a death sentence of 3 to 5 years. It's been 8 years since I've been diagnosed. If I did not use my cancer diagnosis as a catalyst to change, I would have wasted another 8 years. So I'm going to challenge you. What are you going to do? Are you going to dare to change? Because one thing's for sure, and one thing I know, complacency is the anchor that keeps your dreams from sailing. So if you'd love to connect with me, feel free to email me at hello@KeishaHickson.com, KEISHA, Hickson, HICKSON.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Keisha Hickson, or on Instagram, The Real Keisha Hickson. I'm available for speaking engagements. Please book a call so we can do a discovery on how I can help you fulfill your goals. I'm going to challenge you. Dare to change. Thank you, Dr. Whyte.
Ooh, that's so powerful. Oh my goodness. And so that's dare to change. Dare to change. Do it now. So listen, viewers, I want to let you know that wherever you're listening and watching this episode, Keisha's info is in the description. I encourage you to go follow her on social media. Let her know you heard her here and connect with her. If you're looking for a phenomenal transformational speaker, obviously you have her. But this is not the last time you'll see her anywhere near my platform. I can't wait to go to New York and meet up with her. Have some fun. She wants to live out a suitcase, and so do I. So I mean, talk about try people. We are just so honored again. Thank you, Keisha, for being here. It's been such a phenomenal conversation. And I want to say to you all, remember that everything begins with your thought. You're going to have to pivot. How you think is what you begin to speak. What you begin to speak, what you do and do repeatedly, it becomes habits. And those are results you get. It's what you become. I'm Dr. Alisa Whyte with my special guest, Keisha Hickson, saying we'll see you later. Bye.